Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and 2024 graduates. Welcome to another edition of the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network in conjunction with Clear Production Sports. And we like to welcome you to a little thing we call Friday Eve. But every now and then, people gather at the water cooler. People gather in the lunchroom. People might gather at the bus stop and they talk about this little thing, and it's called the Thursday Night Throwdown. Yeah.
I say it all the time. We wait for the Thursday Night Throwdown every week.
I'm a little unprofessional. My bad. My TV was on in the background.
Am I delayed?
Nah, you good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not doing the Chinese theater joint.
Because I wanted to make sure I'm good because, all right. I'm looking at myself. I'm going double barrel tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, as the Midnight Rider has said, welcome to the Thursday Night Throwdown. But before we get into the Thursday Night Throwdown, we got to do it because we got to get it right. We didn't do it on Tuesday, so we got to do it tonight.
You still gotta think about me. Want someone to hold. You can put me on airplane mode. You can put me on. You still gotta think about me. Want someone to hold. You can put me on airplane mode. You can put me on.
You gotta check the timers on those because the Tuesday night flight is the longest. Then it's Thursday, and then Sunday. It's like Sunday cuts off.
Yeah,
a little too soon.
Agreed. Let's get back in this thing. Thursday Night Throwdown. Welcome. Oh, let me get out the way a little bit. Little artwork from my daughter Akasha. That is her dragon. If you want to donate to the Benevolence Fund, funding for her art supplies. If you know me personally, hit me up personally. If you don't, just send a message in the group. Say, hey, hit me up on the art supplies. I'll give you the cash app. You can send it straight to her. But it's Thursday. First and foremost, Midnight Rider, how you doing? I know you full of a lot of pride, so we got to talk about it, man. We talking about kids, so let's talk about yours.
Oh, come on, dog. We got all right. I'm gonna try to maintain this as best as I can. Go ahead, KG. What was you about to say? I cut you off.
No, you didn't cut me off.
No.
I'm trying to fix some things.
I mean, today was a big day. The seed, the child, the kid, the fruit of my loins, all things I've called him in random times. He walked across the stage today, man. Woodbridge High School, Eagle Bank Arena. I couldn't have been prouder. The onions have been heavy. The allergies have been acting up. And, you just can't help but be prideful in this moment, as a dad. I mean, I know you've experienced this, but yeah, man. Yeah. And then, like I was telling you earlier, it's just so much symmetry. And, like, if I was a numbers person, like, I would have been freaked out by the day. But thankfully, I'm not. But just the connections, the fact that he graduated out of Eagle Bank Arena, which is on the campus of George Mason, which is where I attended school. The fact that on the exit, you come off of Braddock Road, there's a little place called Wakefield Park. And that's literally where I got the phone call from his mom after my game saying that he was about to be born or she was going into labor and she was driving up to Sibley Hospital. Even to the point of just that stretch of Braddock Road where, my dad, after my mom passed away, used to always, we would stop at like Outback and just sit and talk. On my way home, there were so many heavy connections. Even to my godmother being there, and us talking at Blue Waters, which is a great place to grab some food. Just yeah, I mean, like there was so much emotions today. I tried to manage them as best I could, but just being a proud papa, man. And shout out to, I think, Jack Carr, his daughter graduated from Kent Island High School. I think it was KIHS. That's what I'm guessing it stands for. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. But shout out to him also. Shout out to anybody. That's why I said 2024 graduates, period. Because, I mean, we got to remember these kids started their high school years in the pandemic, and they weren't even in the classroom. First year and a half. So, they got a special tolerance or special fortitude that was built into them just because of how they had to start their high school career. And that's the end of my soapbox.
I agree 1,000%. I feel like I'm lagging.
You're not. You're actually better than you think you are.
Okay. I'll take it as that. It just looked like on the screen I'm just lagging. It's just like I'm just going, ooh. But anyway, the boss BJ, the FNG on Thursday, says congrats. And most definitely congrats to the intern, Monica Thornton, checking in. Congratulations. And from me, from the bottom of my heart, man, congratulations. I'll say this. You never know who you're going to meet on the road of life. And I say congratulations to Josh. I say congratulations to you as a parent. You would think that we built the bond 40, 50 years ago. Long before we was able to walk out of the sandbox. And to know that been sharing in moments in Josh's life and your life for the last couple of years, man, and knowing that we come to this point, and my wife says to me, she says, sometimes you got to make your own family.
Right.
And I'm proud to call y'all family, man. I'm proud to call y'all family. It's one of them things where you're just happy to see a milestone. It's like, hey, this feels good.
Well, y'all solidified that prom night, and his mom was like, yeah, let's get pictures. Oh, we gotta get the podcast, guys. I mean, I think that solidified it for me that night. Like, that's when I knew. But I mean, it all started, and the craziest thing, this all started with me meeting Dwayne and him constantly. Every time I saw Dwayne, he used to be like, "You just gotta meet my cousin. Like, he knows sports like you know sports." I'm like, okay, because I've heard that before, and then I meet the person, and it's just like let down. You know what I'm saying?
You ask them who their favorite receiver is, they be like, Clinton Portis is one of my favorite receivers.
I mean, just it would be like, name a random receiver in the like, he'd be like Isaac Bruce, and I'm like,
that's not random.
Okay,
Reggie Barlow.
Yeah. And I'm just, or what's my man, the man with the greatest one, Brandon Lloyd, and I just be like, oh, all right, and then I just walk away. Like, that's just how those conversations went. But nah, it's yeah, man. I truly feel it. I truly believe it. You guys don't even know what y'all did for me during the pandemic. When I was in between sports shows, and I jumped in on Podbean, and I think when I first started out, you called me Ahmad Rashad voice. All that stuff.
Oh, my main man.
All that.
That's
stuff.
my main man.
That just, it was like it was the building blocks, and then like I just watched the reaction of my sister and them, and I know we 10 minutes in, and I made this about me, but I still believe, I can't believe it, like my sister sits there And every time I tell her the story, like, yo, the first time I met these dudes is when we went to go sign with Hill. She was like, huh? She's like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, no, seriously. The first time we ever met in person was the day we sat down with Hill. So I don't know, man.
November 2023.
3 years in, 4 years in, and it's just it's been a great road, man. A lot of healing, a lot of family, dog.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the making of a Fast and Furious movie. I don't have friends. But it's the truth, though.
I mean, but think about it. I mean, it's even to a point. I mean, your wife, your kids, just me and Akash doing the pod in the pre-show. Your wife just whatever she drops jewels on me, or she tells me that she knows more about music than you do. Anytime those conversations happen, man, it's a great thing and it's a blessing, man. And just don't want to take it take advantage of it, man.
Yeah, agreed.
Take it for granted. That's the better word. Take it for granted.
Matty Ice chimed in. He say, my last one graduates next Friday. Hallelujah. Congratulations, Matty Ice. Look, if we was closer, man, this would be a hell of a celebration. What y'all celebrating? Kids graduating high school. You know what that means? And Matty Ice also says, congrats, Ben. Meant to say it earlier.
Thank you, man.
The boss BJ said if they run the 3-4 on offense, they would score more. Okay, Booger. Little Booger McFarlane there. Jumping into this show. We lost a legend. I had to take 2 days of mourning because of this loss. One, William Theodore Walton, quite possibly one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. I think at one point in time I called him the greatest college basketball player of all time. And the boss BJ is joining us now.
Real quick, gentlemen. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, real quick. I don't know how far I'm off, but the comment was reference to you talking to people they don't know sports. That was my comment.
Got you.
Oh, okay.
That makes a lot of sense now.
And Midnight Rider, you had said something about being 10 minutes in the show and talking about making it about you. It's just one of the things that you take as much time as you need to because it's a big moment. And I just wanted to get on and say, congrats to the whole family, to you, Josh, moms, everybody, because it's a big moment. You get to replay that. It's almost like a movie. You see them walking across stage or walking up, and then you get flashbacks of them being born, and you doing the first thing with them. It's just like, and that's where them emotions build up.
Yeah, I got a nice collage.
All of that within that hour. First took him here and it took him there, and
I think his phone going in and out on us.
Yeah, we losing you in and out there, B.
But no, I got a nice collage that I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I might do a pics collage, but it's gonna be kind of the steps for him. I'm a poet, so at times I get sentimental and emotional. So yeah. Go ahead, B.
let me tell you what this podcast is not brought to you by. It's not brought to you by AT&T. I'll let you know that now. It's not brought to you by AT&T. But I was trying to have a moment there and it got ruined, but I'm with you guys. I'm listening. Hopefully I'll be done what I'm doing in a minute. But I just wanted to hop on and throw my congratulations and love to y'all, to you, Ben. Hell of a moment.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. Totally, man.
Hopefully I got one coming out soon. And
Lost.
And it was family.
Now, oh man, JoJo checking in. Congratulations, little Ben.
Yeah, if y'all send me any kind of congratulations, I'm screenshotting it and I'm sending it to the kid. Because I want him to understand, like, it's not just me. Like, there's people that have your back, across different avenues. People that have never seen you, have never talked to you, but they know you through me, so they have this love for you no matter what. So I try to send him that stuff just so he can understand it, because sometimes he may not get it. And I mean, I don't think I always got it, as a kid when, I looked at my parents' circle and like how many people was looking out for my success and wanting me to be successful. So yeah. And I swear that's the last thing I'm gonna say. I'm gonna kind of leave it like that.
JoJo say, yes, we do. A village. Yep.
You know what?
And
the biggest thing is we got to be willing to let the village teach our kids, and that's the key to letting the village raise children.
I'm not even gonna go there.
Yeah,
go ahead and move on. I'm not even gonna go there.
Yeah, buddy. I know exactly where he's going. Go ahead, Cletus. Go on, Cletus.
Nah. Let's get off in this. We lost a legend, 71. Bill Walton passed away on the 27th, which was 3 days ago.
Right.
They say it was Sunday night. Was it? No, that wasn't Sunday night, was it? Yeah, Sunday night, Monday morning.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I had to take 2 days of mourning because if you've listened to this show, you understand how I feel about Bill Walton, especially as a commentator, as a player. He went to UCLA, was the first overall pick in 74. Two-time NBA champion, 77 to 86. 86, quite possibly one of the greatest teams of all time. Those 86 Celtics. Finals MVP in 77. MVP in 78. He was only a two-time All-Star in 77 and 78. All NBA first team in 78. All NBA second team in 77. All defensive team in 77 and 78. Sixth man of the year in 86. Led the league in rebounds and blocks in 77. Had his number 32 retired by the Trailblazers. NBA anniversary team on 50th and 75th. Two-time NCAA champion in 72 and 73. Final Four MOP, most outstanding player in 72 and 73. Three-time National College Player of the Year. Three-time consensus first team All-American. He won the James E. Sullivan Award, and his number 32 was retired by the Bruins. Now, a lot of people look at his stats and say, how's he a Hall of Famer averaging 13 points and 10 rebounds? But he's a Hall of Famer because what he brought to the table. He was, when healthy, now, he had bad feet, bad knees, bad back, but he still got out there and played. And when he played, he made a difference. One of his coaches, Dr. Jack Ramsey, I miss Dr. Jack on the radio. Like, that was one of the best commentaries you would ever hear. He also played for John Wooden, one of the great philosophers of our time, as well as basketball coaches. And playing in the Celtics organization with those great players in that great front office. He was surrounded by greatness his whole career, and he went on to become great. I'm babbling. Midnight Rider, take it away.
No, this is what I'm gonna say. For part of the time I've been on this show, for part of the time that I've walked this earth, I probably disrespected the legacy of Bill Walton to a certain degree, mostly as a commentator. But there's a personal thing for me as to why I struggle with him as a announcer. But and I'm not getting into that. But what I do know is the guy was a great basketball player. He was a great man because he stood for things and he stood on his laurels. Like he almost got kicked out of UCLA because he didn't want to cut his hair because that was part of who he was. He stood up in times when other people would walk away because they would say it's not my fight. He was one of those guys that I think if you watch and you pay attention to his totality of his things and what he stood for, you gain a greater respect. You know, I listened to Doc Walker, and he talked about, you know, the mutual connection they had through John Thompson Jr. And they talk about just their connection growing from it. And what I have to say is I think I gained a greater respect for Bill, unfortunately, in his passing. So maybe I didn't give him the flowers that he deserved. But I think as a basketball player, he's one of those guys. I think when we do a what if show, he's got to be on the what if. Like, what if Bill Walton feet never got jacked up? Like, what does the legacy important look like? You know what I'm saying? When he was healthy, 70, I think they were in the finals, 78 and 79? Or 77 and 78, something like that. They played the Sixers once, and I thought they played the Wizards once. I might be wrong on that, but
I'll double check. Keep going.
But the guy carried the team to the finals. So I had to give him his respect. Then he came back, and yes, we knew he was not himself anymore. And then he became a six-man, humbled himself, became a six-man, and got a title with the Celtics. And I think, you know, we were a little cheated by his playing career. I thought his commentating years, he was early on, I thought he was fantastic. I thought towards the end, he lost a little bit off his fastball. But again, that's just a conversation I'll have off air with you, KG, but not on air because I don't want to disrespect the man.
I get it. If I'm not, let me go through. They won the championship in '77. They
Right.
beat the Sixers. Now here's the crazy part: in the Eastern Finals, the Sixers beat the Rockets 4-2.
But you know
And
what? The crazy thing is, the Sixers team was way more talented than the Portland team.
Yep.
Sixers should have never lost that series. The only reason the Sixers lose that is because George McGinnis felt like he should have been a man and not Dr. J, and their little petty jealousy thing turned that series on its head.
Isn't that the way it always goes?
That would probably, if it hasn't already been one, I think that Sixers team should be a great 30 for 30.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. JoJo says, rest in peace, Big Red. Xavier checking in. Hello, fellas. Matty Ice said, Bill wasn't always my cup of tea as a broadcaster, but that dude loved life, and that is way more important. I agree with that. Now,
you know what? Shout out to Matt for coming in, being like Mark Messier, being like Connor McDavid and making a great assist. Because that is exactly what I was. That's if you had pinpoint my thought, that was it.
I'll say this.
Actually, hold on. Nicholas Backstrom, Sidney Crosby, other people that made great assists besides Matt Catlin just now.
I'll say this. As a broad, now I got to see the tail end of his career.
Okay.
Was very young, didn't know what I was watching. But being what my wife calls the historian that I am, I went back over the years and I've watched games. I've watched him, you know, especially when what was that? They had the historic teams on 2K. And
right.
You know, using Bill Walton and things like that, and the headband and the red hair and all of that. My wife calls the historian that I. Yeah, that's me.
My bad.
But as a broadcaster, I loved how he broadcast. I loved his analogies. I loved hearing them talk, because when there was a timeout or lull in time, you heard stories. You heard basketball wisdom. That's why I love Hubie Brown so much. That's why I love Coach Thompson so much. That's why I loved Dr. Jack Ramsey so much. You know, when you get these, Clark Kellogg is another one that I love. I love to hear him do games, because you get such insight, and it's like you're sitting at the foot of a great scholar and you're just learning, because you're learning the game and how the game is supposed to be played. And not to mention, Bill Walton has some pretty damn good Reebok commercials too. So, rest in peace to the Big Red Deadhead, because he was a Grateful Dead fan to the end. And everybody's talking about Bill Walton all over Twitter, so you can catch a couple of stories that you didn't know. So check those out all across Twitter. A lot of them, I think I've retweeted across the board. So, Matt says Brancy just gave a solid A anthem in MSG.
Now, Matt, do we have a rank and file of the old Canada singers, and is there a ranking system? Because I'm just curious. Because I watched the Edmonton game the other night in Edmonton, and he was singing "Old Canada," and I was like, "Does Maddie break this down or not?" Like, I asked myself that. So feel free to respond in the chat.
I'll say this. I will say this. When it comes to national anthems, Matty Ice is your guy. There's a guy that will break down the national anthem. And he has them all listed in rank. That's what everything you think that nobody else covers, we cover here at the Sideline Junkies.
Here's a guy.
NBA Conference Finals. One side's already wrapped up. The Celtics win 4-0. I think, was it you? Was it Matty Ice? Somebody predicted a sweep. You predicted gentleman's sweep. Somebody predicted a sweep.
It might have been Matty. It might have been Matty. I can't remember who we had in that night. But yeah.
I think it might have been Matty. So we get the sweep. Celtics go to the finals yet again. What's this? The second time in 3 years?
Something like that.
Kendrick Perkins. Draymond Green said something, and I don't usually agree. Matty Ice said no crowd sing-alongs don't count.
Oh, then I want to know. Matty's not a wrestling fan, so never mind. We're not gonna ask that because we want to go down the wormhole.
Draymond Green said something. He said the Celtics made the finals. Nobody cares. And I think I tend to agree with Draymond. Nobody cares. Because the Celtics were here year before last. I'll never forget it because I was in Ohio on tour looking up at the sky at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and the sun was still out. But it's like, okay, they're here. Are they going to show up? Or are they going to be like they were 2 years ago? Are they going to be like the Suns were? Where it's like, yeah, we here, but okay.
No, that's funny you say that. I mean, I know the PG County's finest, Jack Carr, has 200 bones riding on this. I think their bet is like the first to 18. Whoever gets there first, the other person has to pay up. And when I think about this matchup and I watch this team, I think there's a moment where we're denying this team I don't know. I feel like we're being hard on them, but I also feel like we're giving them some leniency, if that makes sense. At the same time, like we'll talk about Brown not having a left hand. We'll talk about Tatum not stepping up, but then we'll also just kind of not go full bore with it. You know what I'm saying? not go all in, not ask for them to be broken up. Like, oh, they can't do it as a tandem. They need to be separated. And then when we get here, what are they going to be? Like, that's the question. Like, what are they going to be? What are we doing here? Like, how is this team going to define itself in this incredible moment? Because they should be favored no matter who they play. And now the difference is favored over who I feel or who we think should win it. But I think they'll be favored on any Vegas line that's coming into this series. This team won 64 ball games. And if they get Kristaps Porzingis back, supposedly that is the key. That is the key to life. Those are the songs written in the key of life.
Okay, Stevie. Here's my thing. First and foremost, the Timberwolves are down 3-1 in the series. Game 5 is tonight. You might get your gentleman's sweep tonight. You might. But if the Mavericks win this, I don't see Boston beating the Mavericks. But that's just me. That's me. Because Boston doesn't have a way to stop Kyrie Irving, who has something to prove. Boston doesn't have a way to stop Luka Doncic, who has something to prove. Everybody on the Mavericks seems to be peaking at the right time. I don't see them beating the Mavericks.
Well, I mean, if it's Magic, then never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not gonna give you the whole line and the lyric. But no, I mean, I think you got a great point. But I just think Vegas sees this totally differently than you and I.
Yes. You know what? I just thought about something. Boss BJ says, on paper, Boston will be the favorite. Yeah, most definitely.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Before we get out of here, I got something just for Josh. So we'll do that and wrap it up. I just thought about that. I had something prepared for him.
You trying to get the onions cut?
I just got. We'll do it and wrap it up. I got something that I had set up for him that I wrote it down and everything. But we will find out the other half after tonight, maybe,
or in a couple days,
or in a couple days.
But let's talk about that, because if the Wolves win tonight, think of what that narrative becomes. Because now the narrative isn't about the Wolves like stealing games; it's are the Mavericks choking? That becomes the narrative more than anything else. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about, can the Mavericks actually do it, or will they be like the other Dallas franchises and wilt in the moment?
Can't win the big one. Next year's champion. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Exactly. Susan Lucas, baby.
We shall see.
Whatever that girl was from, 27 Dresses? All that stuff. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
The Wiz Kids removed the interim tag on Brian Keefe. JoJo voiced her opinion inside of the group, as well as the Midnight Rider. They both like the deal. Me personally, you know who I want, but I stand alone on that. No, you know who I want, but I'm like Batista. I walk alone.
But you're not ready for who you want.
Here's the thing. Who I want, I would rather have them come in on the ground floor and build up, rather than have everything already put together and then you bring somebody in. I hate when teams do that.
So let's start. Who do you want?
New York legend Mark Jackson.
He's never getting a job again. I say this to you every time we had this discussion. He's never getting a head coaching job. You can ask. You know what you're doing? You're asking for water in the desert. You asking for Peter. I'm sorry. You're asking for Judas not to give up Jesus. You asking for things that's not going to happen.
Bruh. You killing me, Smoke.
You asking for Peter not to deny Jesus 3 times. Things that's not going to happen. You can't change. You can't go back in time. It's not going to get changed.
Agreed.
And then I keep telling you, Sam's never getting the job. I don't care what you say. And if he does, I apologize and I will eat crow. But Sam's not getting the job.
Sam Cassell?
Sam Cassell's not getting the job.
You know who I think? I thought Sam Cassell would have been considered for this job here because he has, number one, he has roots here. He's a Baltimore kid. Well, he ain't a kid no more. He's a Baltimore. He's from Baltimore. But also he coached here for a while. But I think Sam Cassell might be your next Lakers coach.
No, I think I don't have anything official, but I think the Lakers are coming down to two people. I think it's going to be either Rajon Rondo or JJ Redick. I think those are the two. And if you watch Rondo play, Rondo was a coach on the court. Yes. He would fit LeBron perfectly because of their ability to manipulate matchups. Like, we always talk about the big three, but the biggest person in the big three was Rajon Rondo because he knew how to set it up and to get max value out of everybody in the big three. He facilitated when to go to big guy. The big ticket. When to go to Pierce and when to go to Ray. Like he figured that all out. And as a guy that probably was only 2021, he was bold enough to even implement that, and they trusted him enough with that process. So I personally wouldn't mind a Rondo. I don't know if I like Redick, even though people are giving, what are they saying? The streets are saying that some execs feel like Redick is a Pat Riley type and could lead to that kind of a renaissance. I don't know if I believe in that.
I don't.
And it's not because he went to Duke. I listened to him talk basketball, and what I try to do is listen to him talk basketball when he's not on First Take or Cold Pizza or Get Up or whatever it is. I try to
Only time I've ever heard him talk basketball is either he's on the podcast with LeBron James, he's on ESPN, and he invalidates his basketball knowledge with some of the 90s was so watered down because they had expansion. What?
See, I think that's like I try not to put volume into those things because I feel like those are producer takes, and we're trying to move the show. But let's get back to Brian Keith and the mission here at hand. I think, like I told you before, I thought he was the guy to begin with. And in this situation, I didn't feel like it was the Wizards being cheap. I felt like it was a situation where you got a job where you're rebuilding on the fly. And you're thinking it's going to take 3-4 years. So if you already have somebody in place that kind of embodies your thought process, why go somewhere different? Why get somebody else? He meets your value system. He's the one. He doesn't have red flags. He's not going to change up on you, mid season or anything like that, because he's going to preach the sermon that you wrote down for him. You know what I'm saying? If he's Drake and you are ghostwriter, he's going to say your lines perfectly. I probably shouldn't have taken that shot at Drake. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, but you know what I'm saying? I think Keith fits them to a T, and I think he also doesn't. I think if you think about Minnesota, and I think you think about OKC, they're both two times where exactly. I think some of it's just for TV, but I think those are two teams that they hired some guy that you didn't know many years ago, and now those guys have got them in the playoffs. And I think Brian Keith can be their version of those coaches.
Only time will tell. Because I'm not going to take anything away from Brian Keefe
but this is what you asked for.
Yes, but I'm not going to take anything away from him because I can't say, oh, he's not a great coach. He's not this. He's not that. I can't say those things. I cannot because, he was given lemons and he kind of sort of made lemonade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I can say, well, Flip Saunders is going to walk through the door. He's not. Doug Collins is not walking through that door.
Yeah, if
Wes Unsell's not working through that door.
If Flip walked through the door, we got some issues.
If Wes walked through the door, we got issues.
We got some Ghostbuster shit going on if Flip walked through the door.
And shout out to Flip, man. I've always loved Flip Saunders. Just like I always loved Doug Collins. But those guys. Go ahead.
No, I apologize. I think Flip Saunders was an actual good player, not named Wally Zerbiak, away from possibly winning the championship. And I think Doug Collins' problem was that he loved Michael so much. Like, I always joke with people that if you ever watch that Fresh Prince episode where Will's playing basketball and the coach is like, what do we do in this situation?
Pass it to Will.
Get the ball to Will. I feel like that was Doug Collins, and all Doug said was just get the ball to Mike, and like everybody, that was it. And I think his biggest downfall.
Did you think that was going to be anything different when Doug coached in Chicago? He said, "Well, what was the last play? What was the play called in the last play? It was get the ball to Michael, get out of the way."
Right.
That was it.
Right. No, and I understand that, but I think that was the problem for them not getting to the next step is like Doug didn't challenge Mike enough to get to the next plateau. And I think that's where the difference between him and Phil came in.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there because I could go on, but I digress.
Yeah, we're 43 minutes here. I think we just on stat 2. So yeah, we gotta hustle along now. Omaha.
Moving on, talking some Major League Baseball. Negro League stats come to MLB. Now, the number one leader in batting average all time, 466, Josh Gibson. Slugging percentage, 974, Josh Gibson. OPS, 1.474, Josh Gibson is now your new leader. I'm waiting for them to give him the home run record for the season because he did hit over 80 in a season. And if I'm not mistaken, he would have the top 3 home run seasons. So
I'm gonna let you go first.
Don't let me go first. I was going to ask you how you feel about it.
Nah, you go first.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask myself. Self, how you feel about it? I'm absolutely cool with it.
Oh, KG, how do you feel about this?
I feel that it's long overdue for the innovations and the talent that was in the Negro Leagues because times during that time, it was always seen as an inferior league. And what's crazy is a lot of players that played in the Negro Leagues were better than a lot of players that played in the major leagues, but they just didn't. It was a color barrier. So for this to happen, I think is absolutely great. But to hear people say, well, if you do that, then you might as well go ahead and bring in the Japanese league stats and this stat and that stat. The NFL might as well go ahead and bring in USFL stats and this stat and that stat. But here's the thing. When you go into the Hall of Fame, for the Football Hall of Fame, it's called the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So if you played in any other league, all your stats are listed in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Okay? Now they have the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, which is all your major league stats. And they have, the Negro League Hall of Fame. But here's the thing. There's nothing to get mad at about this. This is a time where a lot of things went wrong. This is your chance to make it right. and it's been made right. Why be upset about it? Oh, Ty Cobb was this, Ty Cobb was that. Ty Cobb was a fucking racist, man. Oh, well, why does he take over? Because he had so many less at bats, and you don't recognize Barry Bonds as the home run king. You really don't want to recognize Hank Aaron. I'm sorry. So you recognize Babe Ruth, but a lot of people are so bent out of shape because it's Negro leagues, and I'm like, it's no point to get bent out of shape about it. But it's not even bent out of shape because of the changing of the stats. It's because it's the Negro leagues. And, you know, it's been a lot of racial comments, a lot of racial hate. And me personally, I love to see things like that, because when you are comfortable enough to show your racism, it lets me know. It's like a snake sticking his head about the grass. So it's just that's good. I like it. I like when things like this happen. So I can see your true colors. It's cool. And for the most part, as an overall issue, I don't see no problem with it. And Matty Ice said maybe the only good thing Manfred has done.
Midnight Rider, how do you feel about this? Well, you know, Midnight Rider, I'm glad you asked. Let me say this. I have trepidations. And the reason I have trepidations is the greatest trick the devil ever played is making the world think he didn't exist. And at times, I feel like the story that's going to be told about the Negro Leagues will never get told in its truest essence, because we've melded it into the record books of MLB. We're taking the struggle of us not having our own league and us not having to go through this process. So kids will always feel like, oh, it's just ingrained and intertwined. It's just like, for me, when I watch Black History Month and I don't see dogs going after people marching, I don't see water hose getting sprayed on people, I feel like they're taking the sting away from the culture and they're making it more palatable and easy for the rest of the world to digest. Because in 10 years, me, you, and others may not have the same voices that we have now. And unless our kids hold our voices up and understand that there's this difference, I am highly concerned that this will just meld into the melting pot and become part of the batch that they brew and be the soup du jour that they serve you. And you won't understand that when Jackie Robinson came into the league, black cats were being run out on the field, or he had to struggle through these situations. I almost feel like this is Verbal Kent in the prison cell walking out as Kaiser Sose.
Matty Ice said, Ben, hell of a point. Never thought of it that way. I did not either.
That's why I told you content. There are times when I say content.
Here's the thing. Midnight Rider did not say none of this. We sitting in the group chat. We talking back and forth. You know, we saying little things, not really nothing real heavy. We're saying little things. He never said anything. And you just dropped a whole bombshell. And I'm trying. Whew. Go stand in the corner.
My bad, dog.
Go stand in the motherfucking corner. Shit. I got nothing.
It's all good, baby. That's why I let you go first.
The boss BJ's here.
Uh-oh.
Is he home? Is AT&T gonna let him be great?
I'm not too far behind. Y'all still talking about the whole Negro League integration, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure because it say live, but AT&T it could be live, you know, 30 minutes behind or 7 minutes behind. I just wanted to make sure I'm not on AT&T time. But here, I just want to make a point real quick. And the Midnight Rider, dropped that bombshell. But this is why y'all said something earlier about the village having to help, and the village is going to have to help going forward to educate and let people know that this is why these stats are like this. This is who these people are and what they meant to the sport and why they weren't in Major League Baseball. That's the education from here on forward is going to be super important. And if you don't educate as you go, because in 10 years, a 10-year-old is just going to think Josh Gibson played in the league. They're not going to know until you start educating him about what happened and why there was a separate league and why they couldn't come in, and that's going to be very important here on out. And I think, unfortunately, this is going to be one of those things where it has to be some type of italic or bold print beside these guys' name and it says from the Negro leagues to let people know they did not play in the major leagues, which is it's an important fact. And it's an educational fact. It's very important to let them know, hey, this is, and then that could spark conversation. Okay, well, why 20 years from now, when a kid's looking up and he's finally in love with Major League Baseball, he's looking up or asking his dad, like, okay, why is this guy in italic as the all time leader in this, that, and the other? And now you can sit down and have that father son moment or father daughter moment or mom daughter moment. I think this is. I see where Midnight Rider coming from, but I think it opens up a lot more positive doors also. And it's just one of them things where, you know, it's just, I think it's the right thing to do. Now, going forward, we'll see what else, transpires. But right now, it feels good. It feels good.
Man, I wish I had your joy on this. But I don't. And the reason I don't is because I've watched the Super Bowl, and every time the Negro anthem comes out and they sing that before a game, we were raised on it. If you over 40, you know the Black National Anthem just as well as you know any other song. But every year when that song comes up, everybody has to ask a million questions and act like it came out of nowhere. They actually act like it was just written. Like, and I wish I wasn't this pessimistic about it, but I just feel like there's a way people can write history to where they're not the villain. And I think at times this is what's happening. Like, because you don't, like, they almost make it seem like, 1960 was so far away. But we're talking about grown adults that are in their 50s that were standing outside the schools throwing rocks at black kids because they were integrating the school. You know what I'm saying? There's people that were at schools. There were white schools actually beating black schools in championship games, and the referees were cheating. But we got an issue with somebody having more foul shots than somebody else. Like we got situations where the world isn't, like, we're celebrating some teams or some schools and they won championships because maybe they fit the spectrum better than somebody else. And I'm not really trying to get super political, but like I get scared that the way history is being written and the way it's being taught, that some of the struggles and the plight, not even just us, even Native Americans, that struggle is going to get taken out and it's going to get placated and pacified enough that people won't actually realize that there was a struggle.
And I agree with that 100%. And that you see different states across the country now saying you can teach them Black history, but leave out this part. You can
Right,
teach them.
right,
You
right.
can
That's what I'm
teach
talking
them.
about.
you could teach them that this happened, but let's not make it so harsh. And I think that's where, and I don't want to make this just on our people, as far as like a black person thing, because we have some really good people in our group, in our sideline junkies group of all races that
Right.
are a part of the village that will educate about, hey, this is what happened, and this is why this is like this. And I think you have to have those people with those voices to explain what goes on, because with Brian Jr., it's on me to explain to him where we've come up and what happened before when he can comprehend it. We have that sit down and we go through everything and explain to him, just everything. But it's where you're going, Midnight Ride. I know where you're going, and it's like if you pull that root out of the earth, the earth will explode. That's how deep rooted that is, and not just America, but that it's all over the world. You go different places, and
Yeah, I
it's
mean, think
like
about
it's just like that.
the French national soccer team and where these players are coming from and what happened in their countries and what happened. All right, you know what? I'm gonna jump off of this. It's 57 minutes in. Let's go to something else because
Well,
We
let me
we hey, before I get off, and because I know I'm about to lose signal, we'll Midnight Rider. We'll talk to you about something, but we're gonna have to go sideline junkies uncensored, and we'll fill you in on that later. But yeah, it's definitely a hot topic of conversation that can go on for as many episodes as we want to go, and deep as we want to go in that rabbit hole and come out on the other side of the world, and then dig another one to come back. And you just keep digging them and come out on the other side of the world. But like, I found something else. Let me go down here. So I can see the Midnight Riders' frustration. There's a frustration of all people that kind of look like me. But I hope that it's not done as dangle the carrot, like, oh look, we gave you something. I hope it's being done because it needed to be done, and these guys deserve to be recognized in the Major League Baseball history books. And we're not you look at the Major League Baseball history books and you gotta go to a separate book. Y'all deserve to be on the same. Y'all should have been on the same buses. Y'all should have been in the same ballparks. Y'all should have had on the same uniforms, in the same shower, in the same hotels, in the same restaurants as us. And I think that's the step. That's how I'm looking at it.
no comment.
I'm not even because I had something I was gonna say, but tell y'all after the show.
Yeah, no. I like the statement. Let's go. Oh Lord, here we
This is
go.
one.
Lord Jesus.
Called.
Woo!
He said he wanted to see this, so I'm giving it to you first. Angel
Woo!
Hernandez retires from MLB. He made his debut on May 23rd, 1991. His last appearance, May 9th, 2024. He's umpired 3 All-Star games, 99, 2009, and 2017. 2 World Series in 02 and 05, couple league championships, 2001,
Oh,
3,
happy
4,
day.
7, 8, 10, and 16. The division series in 97, 98, 02, 05, 09, 11, 12, 15, 17, 18, 20, and 21. And he umpired the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Dog, come on, man. I was doing cartwheels. I did a somersault. I probably even did a backflip. My hair probably went back to black. Dude, here it is, Matt. I heard he missed the retirement party. Exactly. Because it was right down the middle.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. Talk about getting rid of a sore, getting rid of a parasite. I don't know if y'all follow this dude's name. This dude, it's a dude named Jacob Knowles. He's a lobster fisherman. And when he pulls the lobsters out, Sometimes there are barnacles on the lobster that keeps them from growing, keeps them from doing things, and because they're parasites, they grow and multiply. And when he gets a fish or a lobster that he has to throw back, he'll clean the barnacles off of them and let them start anew. And this is what I feel like is like we've cleaned one of the barnacles off of the sport of baseball. There's a few more. I mean, just to start the list, there's still CB Buckner in this world, who needs to go ASAP and just as quickly. But I tell anybody, if I ever get a job, I want the union to represent me like the baseball umpires union represents its horrible umpires. And then the funny thing was Joe West, of all people, Joe West. Like the only reason you probably didn't talk about Angel Hernandez as much is because of Joe West and CB Buckner. And he came out to his defense. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's over. I don't understand how it took this long, but hey, it's fine. When he goes and when they recognize him, I hope they take a trash can and put it in the picture. And like that should be his video card on MLB 25. It should say Angel Hernandez, and then there should be a Republic Services trash can sitting in front of it. Like they shouldn't even show his face. Yeah, I'm so glad he's gone, but there's still a couple more they need to get out of there, and I'll be happy.
Matty Ice with a live update 0-0 at MSG after 1. Shots 12-8 ranges. Both goalies had some huge saves.
Matty, the save by the Pan, I think it was by where the puck spins and then all of a sudden just rolls off. Oh my gosh. Like every now and then, if you see my eyes dart above the computer screen, that's because I'm watching the Rangers and what you call it. And I gotta give a shout out to Matty for this because I think because of his analysis on the show, some of the details, I think I've watched more, like a heavier volume of hockey than I normally do. Like sometimes I'll check it in the third period in the playoffs, or I'll check out the first two and then I'll get out. Nah, like right now, the basketball games are fighting the hockey games for my attention. Go ahead, I'm done. But Angel Hernandez stinks. I don't understand how baseball allowed him to fester and to be that horrible so much. I mean, like if you even just watch the takes or the videos of just like the highlight, the unhighlight reels of him doing his job, it's like, what are we doing here? Sorry.
That's okay. Last but not least, was it interference?
Was it interference?
If you haven't seen it, Yankees game night before last. Pop up, in-fly rule was in play. Juan Soto goes back to second base. I believe the second baseman was backing up to catch the ball. He trips over Juan Soto. They call interference, rule him out. Haven't seen that play yet?
No, I saw the one with Baltimore and Chicago where the shortstop has to go around the guy on second. And they call interference on that. And Baltimore ends up winning the ball game. So if he trips him, then I'm gonna say that's interference.
He had nowhere to go. It's infield fly rule. Basically, to put it basically in layman's terms, run at your own risk.
Right.
But the ball is in the air. Second baseman's tracking back. This is against the Angels, mind you. Second baseman's tracking back. Juan Soto has nowhere to go, so all he can do is go back to second base. That's his only move. He makes that move, and as he's tagging up for second base, the second baseman trips over his leg. They call interference, call him out. I feel that was a bad call, and this has nothing to do with my love for the Yankees. I'm taking that out of the equation.
As
But
you
if the
talk about
runner
the
has nowhere else to go, what was that?
No, I said as you talk about the Yankees.
Well, it could have been the Red Sox for all I care. But if the runner has nowhere to go but to back to second, how is that interference? So if he would have been caught in between second and third, and they tagged him out because no, I don't want to get too close. I don't want the interference. But it's the infield fly rule. What am I supposed to do?
I get what you're saying because the infield fly rule does negate any advancement essentially. So he has no choice 9 times out of 10 but to go back to the bag. So I totally get what you're saying. I get what you're doing there. There's been a couple of those type of calls where I think that they've been on the wrong side of common sense, and I'll say it that way. Because I thought the call against the White Sox where the Orioles infielder was trying to catch the ball, I thought that was just a terrible interpretation of the rule.
It doesn't matter what sport it is. Sports have become so conditioned to be so soft. Like, you have no way to make a move but to go back to second base. They say, hey, well, that's interference. Even though you're doing what you're supposed to do, playing within the rules of the game, but it's automatic interference. I don't know. But I wanted your opinion on it.
No. I mean, shoot me the thing, and I'll give a double look. But, I mean, I'm going off of what I saw a couple nights ago with the White Sox and Orioles. And I just know that was a horrible judgment call. So, knowing who we're dealing with, umpires in Major League Baseball, because they have the worst commissioner in sports, Rob Manfred, who doesn't want people to actually watch the sport. So they black out games in hometown cities, which doesn't make sense, especially after the pandemic. I'm sorry. That's a whole nother rant that Matty Ice was asking for a couple weeks ago. I'm sorry. Let me stop there.
Why would I want you to watch my product?
Who knows? Why would I want you to watch the highlights?
Here we go.
Like if a player does something good and he plays for the Milwaukee Brewers, let's say his name is Wilson Contreras, and nobody knows about him because you don't watch MLB Network and you don't watch, you're not a big prospect guy, and you don't remember him playing for the Atlanta Braves, or if he's the brother of the guy that plays for Braves, however that works out. But you can't see his highlights anywhere. Why would you want to know who he is? I mean, it's baseball. If he's not a Yankee, a Red Sox, or a Dodger, does anybody really care? If a tree falls in the woods and no one's there, did the tree really fall? Did he make a sound? I'm sorry.
I was walking through the woods the other day and Terry fell. Terry's a tree that I talked to. He fell. And he's been letting everybody hear about it for a week. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, it's just it's amazing to me how inept baseball is at promoting its stars and its players, and giving you access to the people that you want to access. The only good thing they've ever done is add the minor league system to MLB TV. That's their only good thing. So now you can sit there and on a random Tuesday night when you can't watch your team because of the blackout rules, because you got Comcast and Comcast doesn't carry Bally Sports. Well, at least MLB was nice enough to put, the Rochester Nighthawks or whatever the Rochester affiliate is for your team on TV, so you can watch them, or you can watch the Harrisonburg Senators. Because why would you want to watch the Major League Baseball team? Shenanigans. Tomfoolery.
The boss BJ says it's always interference with the Yankees. Matty Ice says, speaking of watching baseball, I'll be at the corner of Carnegie and Ontario the next 3 nights for the Nats series. Should be a good one. Yes, he did say that. Please, Matty Ice, plenty of pictures. And if you want to, go live.
That's probably the only way you're going to see it, because if you're in the area, you can't watch it, because if you don't have Masson on your cable subscription, guess what? You can't watch the game unless you're watching on something else. But I digress.
BJ said it fell. I heard it.
Okay.
The tree.
I know.
All right. It's time to wrap this ish up, B. So let me tell you something real quick.
Oh boy.
In honor of graduation, I thought it'd be fitting to try to put something together. I used to be a rapper in my former life, but I let all that go because I had kids. So to all the graduates, I know you woke up this morning and you told everybody, good morning. You realized that you were a champion. Because once you walked across the stage, you got stronger. Now, you sit back and you say, I wonder, how will I live the good life? But then you start feeling bold and you say, you can't tell me nothing. But sometimes life hits like Barry Bonds. And you got to watch out for them drunken hot girls. Don't get blinded by all the flashing lights. Because everything that made you everything that you are. And that's everything that I am. But always bask in the glory of this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time. Because soon there won't be any more homecomings. But always remember, sideline junkies are your big brothers. And with all of that said, it's the end of the evening on your graduation day. So we say good night.
Okay.
Did you get the pun? I just want to know, did you get the pun? Did you get everything in there?
I think I got some of it. I might have to go back and listen to it again. I'm a couple Crown and Gingers in, so I don't know if I got everything, but yeah, you know. Rick James.
Well, I just gave you a blueprint. I just gave you a blueprint of an amazing album to listen to. So,
okay. Now I know what you're going with. All
right. Boss BJ says peace. Well, we've come to that point. Thank you everybody for joining us. Man, this has been a hell of a ride tonight. So I guess we'll come back and do this again on Saturday. It's already the end of the week, man. Holiday week. Jeez.
I'm gonna say this on my Negro League rants or comments. I don't want you to hear what I said. I want you to listen because there's a difference. And I know everybody thinks about the whole you can't hear Jimmy. You got no. I need you to listen to what I said because there are so many jewels and so many gems nestled into those words that you need to not see the tree that's in front of you. What I'm saying speaks deeper to the forest and you being able to see the forest outside the trees. So if you do it that way, you'll understand my comments and you won't get offended.
Agreed. So I won't even give no rebuttal to that because I don't want to mess it up. So ladies and gentlemen, for the Midnight Rider, shit, I'm on the wrong side. For the Midnight Rider, I'm the big guy KG. For the boss BJ, who's on special assignment and was back and forth, thank you all for joining us. But we don't do no overtime, baby. We are out of here.
Peace.